Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, we are gonna be testing the GeForce RTX 4080 in Horizon Zero Dawn, because a lot of you actually asked for a modern system running that game after yesterday's video on the minimum and recommended requirements of the game. So here we have it. It's the 4080 16GB GPU. We're running it with the latest Nvidia drivers as usual, and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here. Intact power-ups, GPU Z resizable bar is also enabled, and over on the left we're pairing it with the i5 13600K overclocked to 5.5 GHz and 32 GB of RAM, 6000 MHz DDR5 in dual channel. Let's get into it, shall we? Let's go over the settings now. I'm playing at 1080p to start this off. We're also going to test 1440p, 4K and 8K resolutions, and we're using the ultra settings. It's maxed out aside from motion blur, because, you know, it's motion blur. So let's get into it. Oh boy, look at that. Almost 200 frames per second, guys. 199 maximum. Oh, that's perfect. That's absolutely magnificent. Obviously, the 4080 is a very strong GPU for 1080p and even 1440p gaming. It does 4K really well in most titles, so it doesn't really have a problem with a 3-year-old title on PC. Playing it at maximum settings in 1080p. It's actually slightly CPU bottlenecked at times. You can see GPU utilization fluctuating quite a bit, especially here in this city area, because it's more CPU intensive, of course. Also, the i5 13600K with the overclock is still being utilized at like 70% at times. That is insane. No wonder in yesterday's video with the i7 4770K, the recommended CPU for this game, it was at 100% all of the time. It didn't really stutter because of it, but yeah, crazy stuff, you know. A lot of you guys have told me that this high CPU usage that we see in this game is because the game compilates the shaders while you play it, as opposed to when the game came out, which compilated the shaders before you actually got to it. So that's a bit of a downgrade. I don't know why they did it. It was a little bit smoother when they didn't do it, especially on lower end CPUs. Over in the foresty areas with more vegetation around us, we're fully GPU bound. Not right now, but yes, as you can see, we're fully GPU bound here with 170 frames per second. Oh boy. Oh, hello. How's it going, guys? Oh, what the hell? Why are you killing me? Ah, boy. You know I'm the main character, right? I'm gonna kill all of you. Unless I suck, and I sometimes do, as you probably know already. But seems like we're doing great here, guys. Okay, we're probably playing at the easiest difficulty. I don't remember which difficulty this is, because I haven't played this game in so long, but yeah. But yeah, if you have a 1080p monitor with this card, you can expect a great experience like in every other game out there. Alright, let's move on to a somewhat more adequate resolution for a 4080, 2560 by 1440, using the exact same ultra settings with no motion blur. Wow, it looks so much better, and it still gets 150s or 140s here. We only lost about 30 frames per second. That's pretty good considering that the... I'm gonna die, am I not? Oh, that's terrible. Okay, yeah, considering... Oh, boy, I am low HP already. I am low HP. How do I heal myself? I don't remember. Oh, boy. Oh, smoky things incoming. Okay. Not dropping our FPS, by the way. That's great. As I was saying, losing like 20 to 30 frames per second by bumping things up to 1440p is actually quite decent in terms of scalability, because 1440p is 78% higher of a resolution in terms of pixel density compared to 1080p. So it looks way better, and the experience is exactly the same on a high refresh rate monitor. You might be able to tell the extra frames if you have like a 240Hz monitor or 165Hz monitor, but this is a way superior experience. Again, if you have an RTX 4080, you should at least have a 1440p monitor, and I think it really shines a bit more at 4K even, okay? Unless you really want super high FPS in every game that you play, then 1440p is pretty adequate as well. But I have been using this as my main GPU for gaming in my free time at 4K with my huge 42-inch OLED TV, and it looks absolutely fantastic, and it plays pretty much every game that I play at high FPS anyways, with the help of DLSS as well. I really like the colors of this game and the graphics. It looks way better than some of the new titles that we're used to. A little bit of stutter there, probably loading this area, compilating the shaders in the background. Yeah, that happens. That's another disadvantage of doing that on the fly instead of before you get into the game. 153 is what we got here, and 101 on the 1% lows. I didn't see it drop that far, but still, it's kind of insane. No need to use DLSS, but actually I am curious to see how it looks in this game, because I have never tried it here, I think. Yeah, things are a little bit softer, especially the grass moving, but it's a good implementation. It looks pretty good, and it gets us a little bit higher FPS, you know, it drop into like the 140s, maybe high 130s here, and now it's only dropping into the 150s. So, yeah, I would probably not use this, because native resolution ran extremely well, and it was a little bit sharper at the same time. But if you want to use DLSS and extract a few more frames from the 4080 in this one, it still doesn't look terrible. But it's, you know, 140 again. That's really, really close to what we saw previously without DLSS. So let's go ahead and bump it up to 4K. Here we go, guys. 3840 by 2160. We're also using 80 FOV. I didn't mention that. It's a little bit higher than the normal 70 in this game. And everything is still the same here. And now we can say goodbye to the high refresh rate experience. And yes, I am aware that I am using 60 Hz. I'm only using 60 Hz because of the capture card. My monitor is actually 120 Hz, so I can feel those frames when I'm not recording, and it would be a high refresh rate experience when I'm not recording at the lower resolutions. A lot of people tell me, you're calling it a high refresh rate experience, and you're only playing at 60 Hz. I'm only playing at 60 Hz, again, while I'm recording. Doesn't matter though. Let's move on. CPU usage is now way lower because the GPU is a bigger bottleneck at the 4K resolution, of course. It's always going to be maxed out at this point, and it's still good for around 100 frames per second. And it's just so pretty at 4K, especially on an OLED. I'm losing my words over here, my friend. It is so good looking this game. You know, some textures, they're not that great. These are pretty bad, actually. But the overall color of the game, the overall graphic fidelity is pretty good, in my opinion. Look at the hair as well. It looks great. It definitely looks better than many games today, and it's using 11 gigabytes of VRAM at ultra settings at 4K. We got that same little stutter. It's always in this place. Maybe it needs to save something, autosave? I don't know. Can I talk to you, please? You have a very nice looking belly armor there. Yes, I like it. Can I push you to the water? That would be fun, actually. Why can't you do that to NPCs in this game? Imagine going here and all of this grass. I mean, the YouTube compression is definitely gonna wreck every detail here. If I stop, maybe you can see it more clearly, but it's really sharp and detailed, guys. This will play amazing if you have a 4K TV with an RTX 4080 or a 4K monitor, of course. Just set it to ultra, play at your max resolution, native as well, no need to adjust anything. Also, the FPS here outside of the city are very similar to inside of the city, right? We were seeing pretty much the same results, 90 to 100 most of the time there. The city is just more intensive if you are CPU bound. Alright, that's probably enough. It's super consistent. Look at how close the 1% lows are to the averages. It is really good. Let's try with Nvidia DLSS on quality and 4K. Again, the image is slightly softer, but if you are prone to noticing jagged edges and stuff like that, it can actually look better than 4K native. I prefer the jagged edges and the sharpness a bit better than the softness here. But yeah, if you prefer the softness, and if you have a smaller monitor like 32 inches or 27 inches, 28 inches at 4K, which are very common monitor sizes for this resolution. Well, you're probably not even gonna notice a difference, honestly. But well, if you value the extra FPS that we get, and we do get a lot more FPS here with the DLSS at 4K, just play like this. It's gonna become a high refresh rate experience again. Not to say that around 100 FPS average isn't very smooth, because it definitely is, but you can tell the difference on a high refresh rate panel from 130 to 100 FPS. Okay, let's disable this and let's play at 8K, which is now applied, and we're getting 31 FPS, okay? This is 7680 by 4320. Remember, 8K is 4 times 4K. It's like using 4 4K monitors at the same time, running at ultra settings here in Horizon Zero Dawn. Oh my gosh, I mean, if you want to take screenshots, this is the way to do it, honestly. It is so sharp. Even, I can see the leaves, kind of, on those trees right there. There is zero aliasing, even on those far at the distance. I can see some wildlife over there, some birds. Unfortunately, it drops from 30 frames per second, as you can see, so it is not a good experience anymore. Yeah, we're down into the 20s very often, so I won't really play like this for a long time. I'm gonna go back to the City of the Sun, so the time of the day is a bit brighter. Yeah, even here, it's below 30 frames per second all of the time, pretty much. So no good at 8K. A 4090 would probably do pretty well, though. I'm gonna try it out with DLSS quality first. Now I can see zero softness introduced by DLSS. It is pretty much the same thing, and it is in the mid-40s now. VRAM usage is at 14 gigabytes as well, so no problems there with the VRAM. This is actually very good. He's so detailed, far into the distance as well. Can't wait for Forbidden West, my friends. But yeah, 40-ish frames per second is what we get. Sometimes it will probably drop into the 30s, high 30s, but it's not a problem. And now I'm gonna aim for the 60 FPS mark with performance DLSS. There we go, perfect, 60, okay. Now at performance DLSS, in this game in particular, it might be slightly softer, especially on the hair. You can see it's slightly fuzzy there, you know. It's a bit weird, but it's very minor compared to native resolution still. The difference, especially on buildings and people and stuff, it's not noticeable. Anyway, if you really want to play at 8K, this is the way to go. Performance DLSS will make the game much more playable and smoother than before. Sometimes we're still seeing like frame skips or whatever. It's not being picked up by the frame time graph, so maybe it's just a capture card. I don't know, but it's definitely noticeable sometimes. Let me see if locking the FPS will fix that. Maybe to like 50 frames per second is a good idea, since it drops into the mid 50s at times. There we go, 50 FPS lock. Oh my god, what is happening there? Jesus, they're fighting each other. I've never seen them fight each other. Oh boy, that is insane. That's amazing. Oh, hello, it's you. You are fighting those guys. Don't you think that you should probably target them instead of me? Oh boy, why are you killing me as well? Like, oh, come on. Okay, the point is, it actually does feel slightly better if you lock your FPS than with unlocked FPS at this res, guys. Alright, thanks very much for watching this video. Oh, I'm gonna die. See you in the next one very soon, and as always, love you all. Bye-bye.